Don't be dramatic, Benjamin. It's just one night with my CEO. I said, okay. Next morning, the CEO was screaming, "Blackstone acquisition is finished. Who the hell is your husband?" The call came at 5:12 a.m. Most people are still dreaming at that hour. But power wakes up early. My phone vibrated once on the nightstand, a number I didn't recognize. I answered anyway. Silence. Then a man breathing heavily. Not fear, rage. "Who the hell are you?" His voice cracked like breaking glass. I sat up slowly in the darkness. The room was still. The sheets cold. My wife wasn't beside me. I already knew why. I checked the time again. 5:12 a.m. The man on the phone exhaled sharply. "You ruined everything," he said. "Blackstone just pulled the acquisition. $2 billion. Gone overnight." A pause. Then again, louder. "Who are you?" I leaned back against the headboard. Calm, measured. Outside, the first pale light of dawn crept through the curtains. I could almost see the skyline of the city waking up. Cars, lights, ambition, all fragile things. "You called me," I said quietly. Another breath. Then the words came out slowly. Cold. "Dangerous. My assistant says you're the husband." The word hung in the air. Husband. I glanced toward the bedroom door. Still closed. Still silent. Then I remembered her voice from last night. Dismissive, laughing. "Don't be dramatic, Benjamin," she'd said, slipping into her heels. "It's just one night with my CEO." I told her something simple. Something calm. Something that seemed harmless. Okay. And now, her CEO was screaming into my phone. The funny thing about betrayal is how quietly it begins. No explosions, no dramatic music. Just small shifts, small lies, a different perfume, a late meeting, a message that gets deleted too quickly. I noticed them all. I just didn't react. My wife, Evelyn, thought that meant I didn't care. She was wrong. I cared enough to watch, care enough to listen, care enough to wait. 3 months ago, she started working directly under Daniel Mercer, CEO of Mercer Global, 46 years old, married twice, divorced twice, worth somewhere around $800 million, a man who collected companies like trophies, and women like temporary hobbies. Evelyn came home glowing after her first private meeting with him, excited, nervous, ambitious. She talked about him constantly. His genius, his charisma, his vision. It was almost impressive. The way admiration slowly turns into intimacy, like watching gravity work. I didn't stop her. Why would I? Instead, I paid attention. Late-night texts, private business dinners, weekend strategy retreats. The language of corporate betrayal is very elegant. Everything sounds professional. Until it isn't. Then last night happened. She stood in the doorway adjusting her dress. Black. Tight. Not something you wear for a board meeting. I asked one question. "Where are you going?" She didn't hesitate. "Daniel booked a hotel suite. We're celebrating the Blackstone acquisition." Her eyes flicked toward me. "Waiting. Testing." I stayed calm. She sighed, then rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic, Benjamin. It's just one night with my CEO." The audacity almost impressed me. Not a lie, not even shame, just permission assumed. I stared at her for a moment. Then I nodded. "Okay." She smiled, relieved, and walked out the door. That was 8:43 p.m. Now it was morning. And Daniel Mercer was calling me in a panic, because sometime during the night, his empire had started collapsing. People misunderstand patience. They think it means weakness. It doesn't. Patience is strategy wearing a calm face. For 3 months, I had watched Evelyn drift further away from me. Emotionally first, then physically, then morally. But I didn't confront her, because confrontation is inefficient. Information is power, and power requires silence. So I started collecting information, quietly. Her phone records were easy. People reuse passwords, even ambitious people, especially ambitious people. I read every message, every emoji, every flirtation disguised as business. Daniel liked control. Evelyn liked attention. A predictable combination. Then came the financial side. That was more interesting. Mercer Global wasn't as strong as the press believed. The Blackstone acquisition was supposed to save them. A massive purchase, a risky one. If it succeeded, Daniel Mercer would become unstoppable. If it failed, everything would unravel. Debt, shareholders, confidence. I studied the numbers carefully. Very carefully, and I noticed something curious. Blackstone wasn't sure about Daniel. They needed reassurance, a background check on key leadership, a stability evaluation, trust. In big deals, Trust is everything. And Daniel had just started sleeping with his married executive assistant. Risky behavior, corporate liability, potential scandal, a detail that might concern a company about to sell itself. So I made one phone call. Not many people know my old career. Evelyn certainly didn't. Before consulting, before investments, before a quiet life pretending to be unremarkable, I worked in corporate intelligence, which means I know exactly who to call when information needs to reach the right ears. I didn't accuse anyone. I didn't lie. I simply forwarded evidence, messages, hotel bookings, internal communications, just enough, just a whisper of instability, and Blackstone listened. Because billion-dollar deals are allergic to chaos. Around midnight, the investigation started. By 3 a.m., the board was informed. By 4:40 a.m., the acquisition was suspended. And at 5:12 a.m., Daniel Mercer called me, panicking, trying to understand why his empire was suddenly burning. Still unaware. The fire started in his own hotel bed. Daniel was still shouting. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I stood and walked toward the window. The city was waking up now. Soft orange light spilling between buildings. "You called the wrong person," I told him calmly. "I called the husband," he snapped. "Yes." Silence stretched across the line. Then suspicion crept into his voice. "What exactly do you do, Benjamin?" I smiled faintly. "I solve problems." Another long pause. Then his breathing changed. The moment realization begins. "You—" The bedroom door opened behind me. Evelyn stepped inside, barefoot, hair messy, still wearing the dress from last night. She froze when she saw me on the phone. Her expression shifted instantly. Guilt, fear, calculation. I held up a finger. "Wait." Daniel was still talking. "You sent those documents," he said slowly. "Didn't you?" I didn't answer. Because confirmation wasn't necessary. Smart men eventually solved their own puzzles. His voice turned quiet. Dead quiet. "You destroyed a $2 billion deal." I looked directly at Evelyn. She hadn't moved. "Actually," I said softly, "you destroyed it." The line went silent. Then Daniel whispered something almost unbelievable. "You planned this." I ended the call. The room became very still. Evelyn stared at me. "What was that?" I placed the phone down on the table. "A conversation." "With who?" I met her eyes. "Your CEO." The color drained from her face. "What?" "He's having a difficult morning." Confusion twisted her expression. "Why would he call you?" I walked to my desk, opened a folder, pulled out several documents, printed messages, hotel receipts, internal emails, and one corporate investigation report. Then I handed them to her. She started reading. Slowly, then faster. Then her hands began to shake. "Benjamin, what is this?" I leaned back in my chair, calm, composed. "Consequences." She looked up at me like someone seeing a stranger. "You reported us?" "No." The word was soft, precise. I informed a concerned buyer about a potential liability. Her lips parted. "That's the same thing." "No," I said. "It's not." I stood and walked toward her. Every step measured. "You chose to sleep with the man negotiating a $2 billion acquisition. You risked the stability of an entire company. You exposed your CEO to a scandal that could destroy shareholder confidence." I tilted my head slightly. All I did was show them the truth. Her breathing grew faster. "You ruined his career." I almost laughed. "No, Evelyn." I met her eyes. "You ruined his career." Her voice cracked. "And mine?" That question hung between us. Heavy, fragile. I studied her for a long moment. The woman I married. The ambition. The arrogance. The certainty that actions carried no consequences. Then I said quietly, "Probably." She collapsed into the chair. "You planned this for months." "Yes." "Why didn't you just divorce me?" The answer was simple, but it took her a moment to understand. "Because," I said calmly, "I wanted you to understand something first." She looked up slowly. "What?" I leaned close enough for her to hear every word. Respect. Silence filled the room. Then her phone started ringing. Daniel Mercer. Again, and again, and again. She didn't answer, because she already knew what he was going to say. By noon, the news was public. Blackstone officially withdrew. Mercer Global stock dropped 27%. Daniel Mercer announced an internal review. Evelyn's resignation followed shortly after. Corporate language is very polite, even when careers are dying. She packed her things quietly that afternoon. No screaming, no begging, just silence. When she reached the door, she stopped. Did you ever love me? I thought about the question carefully. Because honesty matters. Yes. Her eyes filled with tears. Then why destroy me? I looked out the window. The city was bright now. Alive, ambitious, unforgiving. Because, I said quietly, you thought I was harmless. She didn't respond. She just left. The door closed behind her. And for the first time in months, the apartment felt peaceful. I poured myself a cup of coffee, sat by the window, and watched the city move forward. Betrayal teaches you something important. Not everyone deserves your anger. Some people only deserve your silence, and the quiet moment when they realize exactly who they betrayed.